So next is Bobby Cressman has come from Silver Spring, Maryland, to tell a story about losing control.
Just kidding. Okay, so I love adrenaline. I'm addicted to it. It's a pretty fascinating feeling, and there's nothing quite like it. And all throughout my life, I've had various manifestations of losing control in my life. And for a number of years, I was really into downhill mountain biking. And if anybody knows what downhill mountain biking entails, it's pretty extreme. It can involve jumps, it can involve drops, it can involve high speeds, and basically putting yourself at a very close margin of error to tragic things happening. So in any case, I was biking down in this wonderful place called Black Rock. It's in outside of Salem, Oregon. It's this old growth forest area, and there's a bunch of crisscrossing trails. And it's a pretty awesome place, and it's a great place for a budding free rider to be, stepping it up a little bit, because there's like little jumps, there's tiny jumps, and there's like big stuff, and you get a little more comfortable every time, and you just keep pushing yourself into what you think is that sweet spot of being able to call it good. And so if you're like me, you'll keep pushing yourself until something happens. And so this one particular day, I was out there with a friend, and she was taking pictures, and so I was like, all right, you got to get some pictures of me sailing over this 20-foot ravine. And so this particular jump, there's like this really sharp turn that comes into it, and you have to kind of slow down, brake, and then really quickly accelerate so you can get over the jump, because it's like this ravine. There's a little jump on the other side of the transition. First time, my derailleur starts skipping, and I hear ka-check, ka-check, ka-check. I'm like, oh, geez. And so within like fractions of a second, I'm like processing this, and like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I sail over, just barely made it onto the transition, and turn it out. And I'm like, did you get the picture? She's like, no. I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to do it again. Bad choice. Never, don't listen to your intuition. So in any case, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it again, and I get on my bike, and I'm going to do it again, and I come around this sharp curve, and again, the derailleur skips, and so in the back of my mind, I was just like, just stop. You don't have to do this. And so no, I didn't do it. And so I start going over, and in midair, I'm like, this isn't going to happen. And sure enough, I hit the transition like this, and I fly and hit the top tube like that. And I just roll over onto the ground, and I'm just in this writhing pain, and there. And so and I feel like I'm pissing myself, and I'm like, what is going on here? I feel this warmth surrounding my groin area, and I'm just like, oh my God. And sure enough, I look, and I'm just pouring blood out, and I'm like, oh no. And this was talk about surreal. Like, this was surreal as it gets. And so I was like, okay, and I'm freaking out. I'm starting to cry. I don't really cry with injuries. I get up and start laughing and rolling it off like, woohoo. But no, this was no woohoo moment. And so I was two miles up in the woods, and so I had no choice but to get back on my bike and go down the mountain. And so I'm like coasting down on one leg, trying to keep under control, and I'm like, I could feel it like pumping out with every heartbeat, and I'm like crying. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And this is like 2 days before the fall term starts. I'm taking like physics and calculus, and anyways, and so yeah, it turns out I had a lacerated urethra, which, if anybody knows what that means, it's awful. It's awful. The worst pain I've ever had, and I spent a month with a catheter. But do I regret it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because those moments of clarity that comes when you're like in midair, and you're just barely on the fringe of losing control, it's just so clarifying, and it's so like, it's purifying almost. And well, I've picked up downhill skiing recently, and so maybe so maybe I'll have to take it up a notch there, but I'll have to stay on the ground for now. So, but yeah, so.